The Massacre at St. Andrew Hospital. Welcome back to part 2. The broadcast returns, but something has shifted. The studio looks the same, the lighting hasn't changed. Diane Windsor remains composed behind her desk, but the atmosphere feels tighter now, like the air itself is holding tension. The image of St. Andrew Hospital still lingers on the screen behind them, rain frozen in place, a building that looks ordinary until you remember what happened inside it. Diane begins again, her voice controlled, deliberate, but sharper than before. She reminds the audience that Paul Sneerer is the only survivor of the massacre at St. Andrew Hospital. 42 people died that night. Patients, visitors, people who had no reason to expect violence. And yet, Paul was the only one to walk out of the hospital. She turns to him, watching him more carefully now. She brings up the official timeline. According to hospital records, the first confirmed death occurred at 9:17 p.m. in the East Wing. A patient in recovery was found unresponsive. At the time, it was ruled as cardiac failure, a routine death, something that would not have raised an alarm on its own. But the report did not stay that way. It was amended. The patient had a puncture wound at the base of the neck. Paul does not react immediately. He already knows this. He admits it quietly. Yes, he was aware, but he didn't say it before. Diane doesn't let that pass. As more bodies were examined, a pattern began to emerge. Many of the victims had the same injury, a small, precise puncture at the neck, clean, controlled, and in several cases, a second puncture was made directly over the heart. Not random, not chaotic, deliberate, the kind of precision that suggests knowledge, intent, practice. She asks him directly if he saw Alice McNeil do this. Paul answers immediately, no. He never saw her kill anyone. That statement hangs in the air longer than anything else so far. Diane repeats it, slower this time. He didn't see her kill anyone. But she reminds him that his original statement said something different. He reported seeing Alice standing over victims with a surgical instrument in her hand. Paul shifts in his seat. It's the first real movement he's made since the interview began. He clarifies, but the clarification doesn't help him. He saw her after it was already done. The words feel careful, like he's stepping around something he doesn't want to touch. Diane leans forward slightly. After what? Paul looks down at his hands again. His fingers tighten against each other. After the bodies, he says it quietly, like saying it louder would make it real again. Diane lets the silence sit, then returns to something he said earlier. The footsteps, slow, even controlled. She repeats his description, piece by piece. Not rushed, not panicked, deliberate. She points out what that implies. That doesn't sound like someone afraid. That sounds like someone in control. Paul doesn't argue. He agrees, and that agreement is more unsettling than denial would have been. He explains it slowly now. People don't move perfectly. There's always variation, a shift in weight, a hesitation, a change in breathing. Small human inconsistencies you don't notice until they're gone. But those footsteps didn't have any of that. They were even, exact, step, 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 the same distance, the same timing, over and over, like something repeating a pattern. Diane studies him closely now. She asks again if there were other people in the hospital that night. Paul answers too quickly, no. Then he stops. Something tightens in his expression. He corrects himself, softer now, not people. The words land heavier than anything he's said so far. Diane doesn't interrupt. She lets it sit. Then she asks what he means. Paul exhales slowly. They didn't sound like us. He doesn't explain right away. Diane presses gently. Not like us. How? Paul looks at her, and for a moment, there's something clear in his expression. Recognition. Alice made mistakes, he says. Small ones, human ones. But whoever else was there didn't. The wording slips out before he can catch it. Whoever, Diane notices. She brings the conversation back to the wounds. Medical examiners described them as unusually clean, not jagged, not torn, no hesitation, no sign of struggle. Paul closes his eyes briefly. They weren't cuts. He opens them again. They went straight in, no angle, no adjustment, just direct. Like whoever did it already knew exactly where to place it. Diane asks again, more directly now. Did Alice McNeil have help? The silence that follows is different, heavier. Paul doesn't look at her. He looks off camera again, the same place. Every time. Seconds pass. Too many. Then he answers. She wasn't alone. Diane leans forward. Who was with her? Paul's lips part. He almost says it. The moment is there. Then something changes. His expression tightens. Fear, immediate, controlled, deep. He leans back slowly. "No, I can't." Diane presses can't, or won't. Paul barely shakes his head. "If I say it," he stops. His eyes shift again, off camera, locked on that same empty point. When he finishes, his voice is lower, careful, measured, afraid. He'll know. The words hang in the air. No name, no explanation, just that. For the first time since the interview began, Diane Windsor hesitates. It's small, but it's there. A break in rhythm. The studio feels quieter than it should. The lights hum faintly overhead. The image of the hospital remains frozen behind them, and the red live light continues to blink, steady, unchanged, as if none of this is unusual at all. End of part 2.